go.
When it comes to Harvard, the president's position on this is grounded in common sense, in the basic principle that Jewish American students or students of any faith should not be illegally harassed and targeted on our nation's college campuses. And we unfortunately saw that illegal discrimination take place on the campus of Harvard. There are countless examples to prove it, particularly with the stunning confession by then Harvard President Claudine Gay, who said that bullying and harassment depended on the context. The president at that time made it clear to the American public he was not going to tolerate illegal harassment and anti-Semitism taking place in violations of federal law. So the president made it clear to Harvard, follow federal law, no longer break Title VI, which was passed by Congress to ensure no student can be discriminated against on the basis of race, and you will receive federal funding. Unfortunately, Harvard has not taken the president or the administration's demands seriously. All the president is asking, don't break federal law, and then you can have your federal funding. I think the president is also begging a good question. More than $2 billion out the door to Harvard when they have a more than $50 billion endowment. Why are the American taxpayers subsidizing a university that has billions of dollars in the bank already? And we certainly should not be funding a place where such grave anti-Semitism exists.
Why are we funding them when they have $50 billion in endowments? My God. Raise your hand if you hate Harvard. You believe we used to think that Harvard was this amazing place to go? It was like the university everybody wanted to go to, guaranteed success. It was like the Ivy League gold standard, and how far the mighty have fallen. Tonight, if you hate Harvard, you're going to like tonight's show. Anyways, what's going on tonight, folks? Welcome to the Ace Report. We are covering Trump's battle with Harvard tonight. We are covering the NVIDIA ban on chips to China, what that's going to do to the markets. We're going to cover other market news as well. And also, we're going to dig into a little of the D class that's been going on for Crossfire Hurricane, the insane FBI collusion against Trump and the declassified files, what is being found in those files. It is going to be a fun show tonight, and all, of course, there's other news going on as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Please like, share, subscribe if you like it. And welcome to the best community on YouTube. And speaking of the community, let's say, hey, what's going on, guys? Casink, numero uno tonight. Wago Waco, what's up? Troy, man, Gary Douche, Man Tan, Kim, Wiley, Moody Waters, Brian T, Toe Cramp, Darren Collins, the one, what to do? Chad Youngkin, Scott Volkovich. So now what? Pat Shagoya, how are you? Kathy, Frank Anastasio, here at large, Husker Powers, Moody's in the house. Candace Morrison, Mark R, Kiss Soft, what's going on? Bag Lady Maga, what's going on? Drop TFAO, Butters, that's me. Steve Bernard, Linda Talley, Mark R, Alice Fordham, Fro Girl, Stephen Carras. We need Trump to stop naked short selling. Amen, brother. Did you guys know that Paul Atkins was confirmed last week? We covered that, but he hasn't even been sworn in yet. Do you think there's a reason for that? I think so. Squire 61, BN Pro Toe Cramp, Hobbsy is in here, Vinman, Arnolfo, MM, and Fox Hunter. Fox Hunter, what's up, buddy? It's been too long, it's been too long. I miss you. Biffy loves Harvard. Who's Biffy? I don't know this Biffy. And then we got on Rumble, Lochtefeld. What's going on? Nihus does not like my intro music. Sorry, Nihus. That's it is what it is. It is what it is. Yo, Ace. What's up, Fox? It's good to see you, man. Mark R. Oh, I got it. I appreciate it, man. I've been getting more and more people saying they're seeing crazy things for the market. So who knows? Who knows? It sure doesn't look good out there, I'll tell you that. All right, let's get into it. And as always, leave your comments, questions in the chat. I will get to them when I get a chance. If it's really important and you just got to get it out there, you can always leave a super chat or spam the chat a little bit if I miss you. Okay, I'm okay with it as long as you don't get too crazy. Don't get too crazy out there. Alrighty, let's get into this. Today, Trump and Harvard went back to back. So Trump threatened Harvard, we're going to pull your federal funds, 2.2 billion to be precise, out of 9 billion. I think that's pretty generous, actually. I would have taken the full 9. But he said, cut it out. Quit it with all this anti-Semitism crap, with all these pro-Hamas students harassing Jewish students. It's one thing to protest, it's another to harass. Cut it out. Cut it out with the DEI crap. Cut it out with the promotion of men and women's sports, all this nonsense going on. You're violating federal law. That's an important point. Some people think Trump is just bullying them. No, they are actually violating the current federal law. And by every account, they have every right to pull their funding. Harvard came out and said, no, we're too cool for that. We're gonna make a point. And all the liberals are out there. Woo, Harvard, you're amazing. We love you. Way to not back down to the bully. Harvard sets the precedent. So Trump doubles down. Perhaps Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status and be taxed as a political entity if it keeps pushing political, ideological, and terrorist-inspired supporting sickness, ? Remember, tax-exempt status is totally contingent on acting in the public interest. Very interesting. You can't be violating federal law and be acting in the public interest. It's just a fact. As usual, Trump knows what he's doing within the bounds of the law more than the liberals do. It's just that they got away with it for so long. They got away with whatever they wanted for so long that now they're freaking out because they want that money. But they got a $50 billion endowment. What do they need the federal funds for? Well, we'd want it too. And yet, they're freaking out. Everybody's out there. It's a private institution. It's free speech. Is it? Can you be a private institution when you're receiving billions of dollars carte blanche just in grants from the federal government? They're not loans. That's just money you're being given for being a university, for doing research and whatnot. Just free money given to you for no reason. Whether the richest school in the nation is getting $9 billion a year federally, and they're claiming that we're somehow violating their private right to, as a private university, their right to free speech. I don't think so. When you get all that money, you don't get a say unless you're willing to give up that money. That's how it works. That's why you don't get in bed with the feds. You just don't. We learned this. We on MAGA, we conservatives, we know this. You know why? Because Barack Obama and Biden went about intimidating us, our businesses, our institutions for the last 2 decades off and on. Threatening us, federal funding, threatening us with audits. Barack Obama sent the IRS to harass churches. Remember the Little Sisters of the Poor? The nuns he went after for trying to opt out of Obamacare? Yeah, evil people. And yet the media didn't give a rat's ass, rat's patootie. They didn't care. And now their beloved Harvard is being exposed for what it is, the fraudulent Harvard. And it's beautiful. We don't want our tax dollars going to Harvard, do we? Nope. Hero at Large doesn't. And I totally agree. Moody says private university sucking at the public teat. That's right. That's right. That's what they do, man. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. Vinman says the Dems had zero problem of feeding local school district tons of money with federal mandates. Exactly right. Exactly right. This has been going on for a long, long time. And credit to, where is it? Credit to Mark Halperin for calling it out. Reporter, he leans a little left, but he does not like the unfairness in the media because it reflects bad on his beloved profession. He says, dominant media now, quote, it's dictatorial and inappropriate interference in the business of a private university for the federal government to condition money on adherence to specific policy conduct. Dominant media for decades. It would never occur to us to question the appropriateness or constitutionality of conditioning aid to universities on adherence to specific policy conduct. Anyone want to guess what changed? It rhymes with harump. That's the only difference. These people are so unbearably hypocritical. It's disgusting. But this is great. You know why this is great? Because this is bringing about the exposure of these liberal universities that used to be lionized as the great universities of Western civilization were in America. You know, I mean, of course, there's a few overseas. There's Oxford, but here we had Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford. These are the places, and now it's all being exposed. Here's what Mike Benz exposing the deep, dark connections some of these universities have, and I think it's going to be more brought to light now that all this exposure is going on and Harvard and these other universities are in the news.
That their universities are just, professors teaching, teaching students about a particular topic. They don't understand that, for example, that the Harvard endowment has made a huge amount of its $50 billion by working with the U.S. State Department in foreign regime change operations. I mean, this came out in the 1990s when Jeffrey Sachs was the head of the Harvard Endowment for International Development, was personally petitioning USAID for something like $500 million to administer the economic privatization of Russia during that shock therapy period. The Harvard Endowment and George Soros's Quantum Fund were given basically a no competitor closed auction bid on the sale of those formerly Soviet government held assets, and Harvard is getting billions of dollars in grants in total from the U.S. government while they're doing favors to them. The same thing with Columbia University. The same thing with Stanford University. Americans think that the universities are something that they are. I don't want to say that they're not, but that they're only partially.
Wow. I mean, this stuff is crazy, and it's just going deeper and deeper. USAID, another connection there, just insane. The universities, they are on a mission. They're on a mission. And now most of us have known this, right? Most of us have known this. If you pay attention, you know it. Not only are they liberal indoctrination centers where you send your child and your child graduates and all of a sudden has pink hair with a little blue line down the back and all of a sudden is dating boys, girls, animals, and thinks you're a bigot because you work a regular job and didn't pay reparations. That's what happens when you send your kids to these places. They go for nothing. They study the most insane things. They're taught to be Marxist. They're taught to have no morals. They're taught to doubt even their identity, bend identity, go against biological science. It is the craziest stuff. And this is what it's all about. And meanwhile, the universities are also funding overseas operations. It's crazy. It is so crazy how all of our money has been doing this, and it's just it makes me sick. It makes me sick, and it should make us all. My prayer and hope is that all these universities just go the way of the dodo over the next 10 years. I would love to see an epic collapse of these systems. And it feels like it can't happen, right? It feels like they'll be around forever. But you guys, the college enrollment is down so much right now that by pulling these public funds, they're going to have to start dipping into those endowments and savings, and they'll burn through cash fast. They will burn through cash fast. If college admissions don't increase over the next few years, it's been estimated we could see 50% of colleges and universities in the United States close. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I really do. And we can just hope that some of these bigger ones are forced to reform or they go away as well. And the more we expose, the better it'll be for all of us. Harvard is number one on my list because Harvard is that's where they breed the elites. That's where Skull and Bones, all the other secret societies, it's where they breed them. You go to Harvard, you're almost guaranteed, or at least you used to be, and it's still pretty good chance, you're pretty much guaranteed to get into the elite circles, whether it's Hollywood, finance, or politics. It's basically a guarantee because of the networking connections you make, and they groom you to be a part of that. And just look through political and see how many of them have been at either Harvard or Yale. It will blow your mind, including many Republicans, especially Rhino ones. And it all makes sense when you think about it. Moody asked me to please pray for Canada. Says Kami Carney's mask will slip and sleepwalking Canadians will see him for the evil globalist WEF asset he is, bent on destroying my country. We are praying for you, Moody. And I'll be sure to pray for Canada at the end of tonight. It looks like a very long shot for that election, but we're praying. Just remember, it's the people gotta wake up in order to make change. But we can pray that awakening happens, just like it's happening here. So Moody has been a member now for 23 months. Moody, you're 1 month away for 2 years. That is awesome. Thank you so much for your 2 years of support. That means the world to me, and as well to all you other members. That's amazing. Vinman says almost 60% of college students are females, and females driving the far left radical agenda. Well, there's a reason for that. Young females are more susceptible because of the abortion issue and the feminist issue, and they appeal to their emotions and they pull them over. Meanwhile, they're telling men they're terrible. That message just doesn't carry over well with men. So the men who suck it up, they become beta males or cuck males, and you can spot them a mile away, or they turn gay. But the females, they find a home, and they really go for the females. They have the messaging to turn the female's mind quicker. And so it's very important to keep your daughters and safe and raise them well. And yeah, don't let them go crazy. Roger says we need more technical schools and less of these elite circle jerks. I completely agree with you. And it's happening. It's happening as we speak. For one thing, the internet and AI is making college university, the way of teaching, more and more irrelevant. It's making white collar jobs more and more irrelevant. So there's less reason to go to college, which is a very good thing. AI has taken that over. Instead of, they always said AI was first going to come for the robot jobs, the jobs where you don't need a brain, and it's the opposite. It's the opposite. Trades are going to blow up over the next several years, whereas white collar jobs like, data entry, anything where you're sitting at a desk or reading a lot, those jobs are going by the wayside quickly. And people are doing therapy with AI now. They're getting medical diagnoses. It's amazing. And the AI is usually more accurate. It's incredible. It's incredible what we're seeing. And so those degrees are becoming more or less and less valuable, which is a very good thing. Mike Mishler says our VP went to Yale. I know. Listen, not everybody bad. It's not all bad. It's not all bad, but somebody like Vance, who had the upbringing, a rough upbringing where that's embedded in his nature, where he had to survive to get through it. That's a guy who's mentally tough, who can survive the indoctrination, but not many people can, because they gang up on you. I remember when I was in college, and I did not go to Ivy League. I went to a small private school, but it was still pretty Democrat. And I was a political science major, and I was the only person who would stand up and fight back against their liberal indoctrination. I was the only one. And it's because I grew up with a strong identity. I just did. My family created a strong identity in me, and I researched on my own. Even though I loved all the other stuff that kids love and colleges, our college students love, sports, obviously girls, so red-blooded male, and food, video games, you name it. I was into all that stuff, but I also was reading philosophy and political books, theological books. I was always researching, always learning. And so I challenge professors, but most students never will because they're afraid, and it's scary. It's scary to stand up when all the other students are chirping at you and your professor is going at you. But you know what? It works. Roger says, thanks to ASOLs for the prayers for your dad this week. Finally cleared of colon cancer, and a doctor scared him with concerns with his prostate. He got a clean bill of health today. Hallelujah. Amen, Roger. That is awesome, man. So glad to hear it. You're welcome for the prayers. God is good. That's amazing, brother. That is amazing. Kathy says, my daughter was a Democrat until she graduated college and realized her money was being used to everyone else. She's back to Trump. That's awesome. I love it. Robert Pierpont says, if vocational school attendance goes way up, the pay for those jobs will go down because supply versus demand, wages go down. Well, that's true. But eventually, there's a lack of people in trades right now. They're very needed. So at least for the next decade, maybe 2 decades, the trades can survive a boom of people going into those vocational schools. And then, as always, the economy will shift. That's just the way of life. The only thing guaranteed in our life, guys, other than death and taxes, is change. And everybody who always thinks they can plan their life, can plan this economy, it's full of it. They have no idea how it works. Our economy shifts every 10 to 20 years. It's just a fact of life. And so people always have to shift with it and prepare to shift with it. Johnny Strayhorn says the left's ideology can't survive in a free thinking society. You're absolutely right. Why do you think they were so scared, so freaking scared of X being bought by Elon and Unleashed? Because it made a free thinking society. It opened up the door more. And I honestly think it's one of the biggest factors in why Trump got reelected. Country Computers member for 20 months. Welcome, Country. That's awesome, man. Harvard sponsored by Franzia. That's right. Mark, I'll get to NVIDIA soon, brother. That's hilarious, Country. I love it. Good stuff. All right. Speaking of free thought, more than 80% of surveyed Harvard faculty identify as liberal. But look at this. In conservative or very conservative, it's less than 2%. Liberal or very liberal, 80%. Moderate, 16%. You know what I call a moderate? I call a moderate a liberal. That's just true. Everybody I've ever met that calls himself a moderate is mostly liberal. It's always true 100% of the time. I have never met, and I've been studying politics for almost 25 years. And I've been around the country, lived in California, Texas, North Carolina. I've talked politics everywhere I've gone, met thousands of people. Not once have I met somebody who calls himself a moderate who is center right. Not once, ever. People who are center right always say they're conservative. It's just the way it is. It just happens. And so if you call yourself a moderate, you're a liberal who doesn't want to be called a liberal. That's what it is. You're a liberal, but you're not a crazy liberal. And so basically Harvard is 98% liberal. That's their faculty. So talk about free thinking there. It's not happening. What's up, Randy Albert? Good to see you. Roger says there's a large demand for skilled craft workers. If the economy grows as we expect it to, there will be no surplus for a long time. You mean there will be a surplus? Oh, no surplus of workers for a long time. Yes, I agree. Johnny Strayhorn agrees. Yep, moderate still liberal. 100% every time. Randy Albert wants to chat about geoengineering some night. Randy, can you be more specific? I'd be happy to answer a question. In 2021, over 96% of political donations from Harvard faculty went to Democrat candidates. Harvard is not a university where you go to learn, where you go to have your ideas challenged. No, it's a place where you go to be indoctrinated. That's all it is. It's a vile, terrible place. And honestly, I hope it completely goes down. And that's why you should only watch tonight if you hate Harvard, because this is a dunk on Harvard night. Brett Montgomery reminds everybody, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much, Brett. I appreciate it. Vanman says liberals as college employees are more susceptible to receiving foreign money to hand over university information as military, computer, medical information. Well, that's exactly what Mike Benz was saying. Chemtrails. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about on chemtrails? I mean, they're real. They ever since Trump and RFK got in, it's been notably decreased. They're used for all kinds of things: seeding the air, putting pollutants in the air that are. Some of it is for crops. Some of it is for can be to affect our hormones. Some of it's messing with the weather. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on with that. So I don't know what you guys want to talk about specifically on that, but some of it is, yeah, it's real. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's been proven. I mean, the only real debate over chemtrails is whether or not it's what they're using them for, because what's been absolutely proven is the weather manipulation, especially for trying to seed clouds. And then the other part that's been proven is the crop sprays. What they haven't admitted to is some of the other stuff. This has been going on for a very long time. Yeah, it has. And but what I was saying is that since Trump and RFK got in there, there have been many people who record this stuff in the skies, and they're noticing that it's starting to dry up a little bit. Still happening, but it's starting to dry up a little bit. So that's the chemtrails deal. I don't know what else to talk about on it though. Kathy works at community college. They shove DEI down your throat. I don't think anywhere with any college at all is going to escape it right now, unless it's, say, Hillsdale, which is the conservative college that receives no funding at all. Sorry, Mark, I don't have anything on finger tonight. God bless you, Eric Petronas. AMC is I really don't have any hope for that, but yeah, God bless you on that, man. I lost a lot on AMC too. Pierpont says we have one of the worst tornado seasons so far this year. If they quit doing chemtrails for weather, maybe they start back up. Yeah, I don't think chemtrails are ever good. All right, let's get into the next story I wanted to cover. So I don't know why nobody is talking about this, because this is absolutely huge. Trump declassified Operation Hurricane Files the other day, or Crossfire Hurricane Files. And Crossfire Hurricane is when the FBI was pushing Russia behind the scenes, all that. And it was just a mess, obviously, and disproven. Trump was exonerated, all that. But what's crazy is how deep the conspiracy goes. And what they want to find is, or what we want to find in this is what all happened, how much can be proven so we can go after people. And this is wild what they're finding. MJ Truth Ultra is the only person I know who's been combing through these files, and he is just completely regularly posting updates. And so I found 3 of his updates today that I wanted to share, because it's crazy. This is crazy stuff. So this one, alert: the 2 lovebirds, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, openly discussed a coup against President Trump, discussed code names, and couldn't even believe they were seriously looking into allegations. Lisa: he's not ever going to become president, right? Right. Peter: no, he's not. We'll stop it. This is the proof of collusion. These are FBI agents. Proof of collusion to stop President Trump in 2016. It's insane. Imagine what we're going to find out eventually about 2024. I know there's going to be stuff that comes out eventually. They go on to discuss code names for the investigation that hasn't been formed yet. So you come up with a code name. Crossfire Lisa would be cute. Crossfire Latitude. Think of something loosely military without being obvious. Crossfire Huge. And they're just joking about this. Oh my God, I cannot believe we are seriously looking at these allegations. This is treason. And here's the files. And he's pulling from here. This is their text messages to each other. I mean, this stuff is insane. It's insane that this is out there and nobody's talking about this. I just don't understand how this isn't bigger news, that we're finally seeing all this stuff. But on this one, I'm worried about what happens if HRC is elected. Isn't that interesting? Why would he be worried about that? But the text before it is, I'm worried about what Trump is encouraging our behavior. Things that make me proud of our tolerance from dissent is disappearing. It's so crazy, all this stuff here. New documents in the Lisa Page messages show they wanted to send 10 polygraphers to New York due to distrust in the New York field office. A notable suggestion is made to send 10 polygraphs to New York due to distrust in the New York office, indicating severe internal tensions within the FBI during Crossfire Hurricane. Document confirms direct references to the SC, likely that's special counsel, likely Robert Mueller's investigation, concerns about its impact, including a mention of pursuing POTUS, likely President Trump. Explicit worry about media leaks and their effect on the investigation, mention of needing to counter leaks through media interactions. Sender expresses deep emotional distress, feeling disappointed in us as an organization, sadness over not sharing critical updates, revealing personal toll on agents involved. And there's still redaction up here, which is not cool. Comey confession, I'm totally screwed. Signals deep trouble in Crossfire Hurricane probe involving Trump and Clinton. On October 30th, shortly after Comey resumed Clinton email investigation, a supportive message appears in his inbox. Thanks for being a beacon of integrity. Comey replies saying, I'm totally screwed. He knew the Clintons would go after him. Isn't that crazy? You don't mess with the Clintons. And what happened? He got fired, and he's still alive, but he's gone full libtard. And I think that's the only way he said himself. Rushed Pfizer request, potential media fallout from Friday release, involvement of high-profile figures like Gowdy and Ratcliffe for secretive meetings suggests he feared being caught in political firestorm. Just this stuff's crazy, guys. Here's another one. FBI Lisa Page chilling admission. If they start digging deep, we are screwed. I mean, this stuff is nuts. Here's why they panicked over the whole Q thing. Newly declassified documents discuss Podesta emails and Obama's potential use of a Yahoo account. 17 references. The suggestion that Obama might have used a Yahoo account and secure platform been compromised as a massive 2014 breach raises serious national security concerns. They're mad at Trump and everybody for using Signal to talk to each other and saying it's not secure, even though nobody would have known unless they brought in a journalist. And yet Obama, as president, is just using a Yahoo account. That's wild. That's wild. Implies foreign actors who are behind Podesta hack could have accessed sensitive communications involving sitting U.S. president. FBI's casual mention of this issue and no apparent follow-up except from the same person saying, sounds like a good question for the 7th floor to handle, suggests potential cover-up or deliberate inaction to protect Obama and Clinton campaign. They aggressively pursued alleged ties between Trump associates and Russia. FBI completely failed to investigate Obama's email practices. Possibility Russia had leverage over Obama through compromised Yahoo account as spicy AF. And then he talks about Q drops. Why wasn't HRC Hillary prosecuted for emails? Put simply, Obama ultimately okayed by using non-government email ADDI to communicate with Clinton. Obama had an alias. Anyways, this stuff's very spicy, and I really hope more of this comes out. It's unreal that this stuff's happening, and nobody's talking about it. I mean, this could send so many people to prison. I mean, they go down this road. It just gets more and more treasonous. And the fact that these are the actual files released, and then you go to like these Q drops from 8 years ago. It says FBI accidentally deletes text. I mean, 7th floor is no more. That's mentioned in these. It's crazy. It's very validating of the whole Q thing also, which just makes it even crazier because so many people ignore it. But anyways, I'm following this closely to see what more comes out of it because it's just nuts. Oh my God. Did I not share this the whole time? I'm sorry, guys. I was sharing the wrong thing. Here we are. Sorry. I was clicking it and I didn't realize it wasn't on my screen. But here's these Q jobs talking about it. And here's all this and everything I was referencing. I've reposted it, but follow MK Truth Ultra. He is pumping all this out. It is nuts. So Johnny Strayhorn asks, are we getting close to prosecutions? Listen, we have all this now. Kash Patel is in the FBI. We're declassifying this. This is out there. I mean, why do you think they're ignoring this one? Why do you think the media is not talking about this? They went through the JFK files a little bit. They couldn't ignore that, but they also didn't go as deep as they should have. They didn't really pursue it. I did more coverage on my show in like three shows on the JFK files than most of the media did combined. It's insane. And so now we have this going on, and this is massive, and nobody's covering it. In fact, I don't even see conservative influencers covering this other than this guy right here, which is crazy. This is huge news. It's validating to everything we thought was going on, everything we heard. It's just crazy. And yet, I mean, they don't want it to validate the Q stuff. Trust me. There's a reason everybody who talked about Q during 2019 to 2021 was banned off Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. Okay. If you want to know where the truth is, just look at who's being banned. Unless they're calling for violence, the only reason people get banned, the only other reason people get banned is they're telling too much truth. And but this stuff is crazy. It's just wild. So I'll be covering more as anything crazy jumps out. But that's insane. Vinman says, I wonder how Trump is mapping and timing justice attacks he's laying down. Well, that's the other thing. So let me get to this post right here from Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino says, thank you for following this account. I'm traveling this week to some of your FBI field offices to gather information on necessary reforms to hear from the workforce. The director and I have prioritized reforms while also making sure the work being done to ensure the safety of the homeland continues. He's telling you right there, they're doing two things. They're enforcing justice in the U.S., what the FBI is supposed to be doing, while at the same time working on the reforms. Says, I posted this last week, but want to reiterate it. Director and I, which is Kash Patel, working on a number of significant initiatives to ensure the mistakes of the past are never repeated. What would be a significant initiative to ensure mistakes of the past are never repeated? How about reform's not enough because somebody else could come back in and change it again? No, the only way is to go after those who messed up, who did stuff. They are doing so much behind the scenes, guys. So much behind the scenes. We fully understand some of the actions and initiatives we've taken may not immediately appear to fit in the puzzle, and that leaves a vacuum at time filled by others. But accountability, another word for accountability is justice, requires information and people with information. I'll say again, I'm not asking you to trust me because I'm not in the trust me business. I'm in the show me results business. Actions that aren't immediately visible do not equate to inaction. And I'll be candid here. It's tough not being able to respond to critical or laudatory comments. Critical or laudatory comments. What are some of the most critical laudatory comments going on right now? Hey, where's the Epstein files, yo? Hey, why aren't nobody being arrested, dude? Come on. That's what everybody's freaking out about. By the way, they've been in office for 3 months and everybody expects that everything would already be fixed. No, that's not how it works. They have to clean out all the people fighting against them from within, and then they also have to build the cases. They just do. That's how this works. Do you want somebody to get put away, or do you want them and then let back out, or do you want them to be put away permanently? The only way you really get justice is to build the case. We are a society after all. But I love this. He wants to respond to the comments because he knows, but he has to withhold himself. He's being honest. But that's what I signed up for as employer of the taxpayer. I need to let the results speak for themselves on many of these matters because that's what you're paying me to do. I know you've been let down in the past. You're owed better, and we're going to produce it. Boom, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Moody says, looks like Trump is releasing all these classified docs to get people to see the need for prosecutions before DOJ lays charges. Amen. And I'm saying that's what I'm talking about. Drew asks, I'm going to be honest, if Trump and DOJ don't send people to jail and serve justice, I'll be very disappointed at the end of his term. I'm very patient. Listen, I agree with you, but I'm not going to complain about this stuff. I'm not going to stop being positive that it's going to happen until we reach the very January 20th, 2028, or 2029, if on January 20th, 2029, there have not been arrests yet, then I will say it failed. But I'm giving Trump every day of his term to do it. Every day, because I understand what he's up against. This is the hardest operation of changing our country that's ever been undertaken, because they're trying to pull out the roots, the evil weeds that have grown and been allowed to thrive, and they have to pull them all out, all of them, for us to be able to fully thrive and to be done with it. They're not interested in just mowing everything down so it looks pretty, but the weeds are still there. They are pulling the weeds, and that takes time. I don't know. I used to landscape. Pulling weeds sucks. It's time consuming. It cuts up your hands. It sucks. But sometimes it's the only way to save a planter. It's the only way to save the grass. You got to do it. And that's what we're doing. Roger says, Cash reported that Trump filed a RICO case against Crossfire Hurricane actors. There you go. Tokram says, no wonder they worked so hard to silence the Q operations. They took entire networks down numerous times. I was a witness to it. As was I, my friend. As was I. Let me see. Bongino's going after Swatters. He is, yeah. Randy Albert says, Ghislaine's at her estate with Carney. We need Trump. Ghislaine's up there with Carney? What? No. There's no way. Big JR says, friendly reminder, Gary Gensler signed off on the checks for the Russia dossier with Hillary campaign. Same guy who wouldn't trust to watch my goldfish for 1 hour after just feeding it. So true. Yeah, don't forget that. Gary Gensler was Hillary's campaign manager. That's how he got the Cush SEC job. He's a deep, deep Democrat. Awesome, Roger. I'll look for it in a minute, the link to the Crossfire Hurricane. Thank you. Vimman says, Trump will use the prosecution of Letitia James as a warning to other criminals. You better sing or else. I completely agree with you guys. Mark, I can't watch the Biden speech. I'm sorry. Tokram says, a good guy's going to make an example out of each and every one of them. Flynn on video today calling for charges of treason. Exactly. Kryptonian asks, why is no one stopping counterfeiting in securities market? Great question, Kryptonian. Great question. For one thing, Paul Atkins has not been, he has not been, he's been confirmed, but he hasn't been sworn in yet. So they still haven't even had him over there yet. And meanwhile, there's a war going on in the SEC. I'm going to talk about it in a minute here. Randy Albert, Pierre's getting record-sized crowds across Canada, even in liberal zones. Canada's finally waking up. Oh, yeah. I might actually watch one of your guys' debates for once. That would be good. Johnny says, if you consider how long it took for the rot to get this bad, Trump's moving at lightning speed. Amen. And that's what we got to remember, guys. We have to remember that this takes time, and it's been allowed to go on for decades. The rot is deep. It's so deep. And it does. If you want real justice, it takes time. They cannot just come in and arrest everybody. That's what dictators do. And we're America. And we want this to be America. We want this to be the United States of America. We love this country. That's what we want. If we want it to be right, we have to stick to our Constitution in order to fix it. If we break the Constitution in order to save it, guess what? Everybody gets to use that excuse from now on. You have to fix it using the rules we want to live by. And one of those rules is due process. And so these things take time. Big JR says, that's how Ace really... I'm not reading that, JR. No comment, my friend. Drew Savala says, I agree with you 100%. I absolutely don't complain right now. Understand the complexities. So feel the same way. I love it. Carney's sister at Epstein and Ghislaine at her state parties with pictures. Wow. Crazy, guys. Crazy. Q said it must be done by the rule of law, says Toe. I agree. All right. Let's keep moving, guys. Here's Trump with just a brilliant idea, by the way. I love this. He said this on the Spanish station, which is just so ballsy of him. I love it.
As you probably know, we're doing a self-deportation. And we're going to make it comfortable for
Self-deportation.
people. And we're going to work with those people to come back into our country legally.
¿Está funcionando la autodeportación?
Well, we're starting it. We haven't started it right now. We're getting the murderers out. We have our total aim on the very bad ones, as you can imagine, because you have some great people that came in, but we have some very bad ones. We had 11,088 murderers. Half of them killed more than one person. These are rough, bad people. We want them out. And that's mostly our focus.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is we're going to have a self-deportation program, which we haven't even announced yet. I guess I'm announcing it to you. Why not, Rachel? Here it is. The only thing I haven't determined is what are we going to do? We're going to give them a stipend. We're going to give them some money and a plane ticket. And then we're going to work with them. If they're good, if we want them back in, we're going to work with them to get them back in as quickly as we can.
It's how brilliant that is. What a huge program to announce, by the way. But it's so brilliant because it takes, think about the cost of deporting, like finding these people, going down there, forcing them to leave, taking them to court. That is extremely costly. What he's proposing is much cheaper. Get them a plane ticket, get them a stipend of a little bit of money so that they can travel and then they can reapply to come back in for the good ones. This is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And I love, this is the first administration in my lifetime that's actually thinking out of the box for solutions, which makes sense because it's also the first administration in my lifetime that actually wants to fix the real problems. It's unbelievable. I love it. Moody said, did I see Trump take down the CNN reporter with Frank Buca? Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. Took down Caitlin Collins. Thank you, Mark R. Appreciate that. Brett says, could you imagine Joe Biden to tell me he was going to do an interview at the Mexican station? He'd show up at Taco Bell. He'd be like, come on, man. I want the yo quiero taco, the sour cream, the big burrito. Yeah, that one. Come on, man. I'm hungry over here. I'm so tired. So tired. What'd they say? Trump say he wants to learn Spanish. That'd be pretty amazing for a 78-year-old man. Incredible. You guys want to know how deep the rot is? Look at this little video. This is just a standalone, but this is nuts.
Every single week, we have a litigation working group where a large group of us, and I'm talking there's maybe 75 members of the House, sit down every single week with the AGs to talk about legal strategy. This is all going on every single week behind the scenes. It is nonstop talk, nonstop introduction of bills and legislation, nonstop being on social media as much as we can without being throttled.
This is on C-SPAN. This California representative is flat out admitting that they are doing weekly meetings with attorney generals across the country, all the liberal ones, saying behind the scenes, we are plotting every opportunity to just attack Trump and Trump's agenda. That's disgusting. And it makes you remember why George Soros funded many of these AGs to get into place. And also the initiatives. I mean, everybody wants Trump to do this in 3 months, but they've been doing this for decades. The left plans far ahead. And one of the things they did, knowing that it would eventually pay off for them, is they've been planting their people in positions for decades, knowing some of them knew that in my lifetime, I'm not going to see what I want to see, but it'll be step by step. They started with the universities. They started taking those over early. Why? Educate the kids. That's why our school system got so indoctrinated. Universities, public schools. That's what happened. Then they kept getting into politics. George Soros funded attorney generals across the land, prosecutors, district attorneys, funds them. Why? Because you control the law that way. You control the law, who brings cases, how they attack, all that. You know what else they funded? This happened under Obama. All the secretaries of state across the nation. They tried to plant them. And this is why several red states also have liberal secretaries of states. What does the Secretary of State do? All right, am I getting this right? I feel like I'm saying this right. Secretary of State controls the elections, oversees the elections. That's what you do. You do this, and conservatives just want to do it one at a time, or just knock it out. Because you know why? Because we want to go about our lives. We don't want to embed. We want to worry about our kids. We want to enjoy our friends. We want to live life. Don't touch me, man. But the problem is when you want that, and there's nothing wrong with wanting it, but the problem is you have the only way to have it is to have people who want that, but are like, suck it up. I'll at least spend some time in government. If good people who wanted to be left alone by the government at least gave 5 to 10 years of their life serving on school boards, serving their local town, maybe serving in Congress, who knows? But if everybody did that, and we just kept rotating in good people, then you give a small portion of your life to service, and then you get to live the rest of your life the way you want to, if we all decided to do that. But too many, and I blame conservatives, I blame Christians, I blame all the people I grew up with, just want to be left alone and figured somebody else would always fix these problems. And they didn't get involved. Meanwhile, leftists always pursue power. They are obsessed with it. They're obsessed with, how can I impact society? How can I do this? They are taught to do that from a young age. Get involved, do this. And they just become obsessed. And so they think about it all the time. And guess what? If everybody who wants to be left alone just leaves everybody else alone and never gets involved, never serves, well, then you get a country that's run by the people who do care about power. And you're like, but I don't understand. Most of the people I know aren't like this. Most Americans don't want this. You're right. Most Americans didn't want to get involved. Most Americans were too focused on their own life, which is fine. There's nothing per se wrong with that, except for we all live in this together. And when you don't get involved, and this is not me calling out anybody individually, I'm saying everybody has their own opportunity to do something. Maybe it's just teaching your kids really well. I don't know what it is. But the idea of sacrifice, we all have to sacrifice a little bit to create the society we want. It's just, and the liberals get this. Conservatives are just now understanding it with MAGA. COVID really woke people up to this. All of a sudden, we have good people running for school boards, everything. But look how far they got it before we woke up. That's on us, guys. It's on us. If we let the schools raise our kids, we let the politicians run our country, the government for the people, of the people, by the people, we gave it up and we said, politicians, you run it. And we figured all we had to do every 4 years was vote. Meanwhile, we didn't pay attention. We let the media tell us what they wanted to tell us. It took a lot. It took a lot to get us here. So, but that's why I always tell you guys, pray about how you can get involved, even if it's the smallest thing. Maybe you're older and all you can do is just spend time with your grandkids. Tell them about our amazing country. Tell them what it means to have an American system. Just tell them that, if you guys, if that's all you can do, it's what you can do, but if you're younger or you have resources, you might be called to more, and that's between you, your family, and God. But I'm telling you, every person has to get involved, from the littlest thing to the biggest. And it's, I know what it's like to just want to be left alone and just go about your life. I get it. But the fact is like, if we do that, then we lose everything. And that's just the way the world works. I didn't make the rules, but that's how it works. The leftist, crazy-eyed Karen here gets it. She gets it. Look at her passion. She gets it. This is why they send people to Harvard, to indoctrinate them to become like this crazy psychopath. But they understand power and they always want it. We don't want power. But just like in Gladiator, one of my favorite lines ever, I've quoted to you guys many times, when Marcus Aurelius goes to Maximus and says, "You will be Caesar. Now do you accept this great honor I've given you?" And Maximus goes, "Oh, Caesar, with all my heart, no. That is why, Maximus, it must be you." In other words, it's the people who don't want to do it we need in there the most. It's just how it is. And that's a good thing. And some good people do want it, but we have been bailed out. The miracle that God stirred Trump to run and win and make it happen is a miracle. It woke us up, and now we have a responsibility to keep it going. Lochtefeld on Rumble says, "Bat crap crazy leftist Democrat party against the Trump administration." That's right. That's right. That's right. BAM Investor made this great post on this point. A little bit on this point. In the USA, we're raised to understand capitalism. It's in our blood. And no matter how hard the globalists, Marxists, and crony capitalists try to destroy us, we'll find new ways to succeed. And I love this. It really is in our blood. Watch local farms use the internet and new apps to sell direct to citizens on a monthly plan, eliminates spoilage, guarantees fair price in return for delivering clean beef and produce direct to customers. Result, lower food prices and much better quality. This means globalist lockdown plan and COVID that destroyed small businesses and decimated the supply chain will be a bust, along with their shrinkflation and every other dirty trick they pulled over the past years. Never give up, never give in. USA. Amen. And that is how you make good out of a bad situation, and also how you just find your way to make a difference, find your way to be a part of the solution. All right. Love this right here. A couple bullets we're going to run through the rest of the show. RFK Jr. today says they changed our food system so that it's poison to us. You're not eating food. You're eating food-like substances designed to make you always feel hungry. They've hijacked the human brain. Scientists figured out your brain tells your stomach it's full based on how many times you chew. What did they do? They added food softeners so you feel like you're never full. Here he is.
That are unknown in nature.
Which, by the way, Indiana today passed that on food stamps. You can no longer buy soda and candy, which is awesome. Awesome. Well done, Indiana. We need to get that across the whole U.S. Our tax dollars should not be contributing to obesity. Nothing against soda or candy if you buy it on your own dime. That is totally fine. It should be out there. It should be allowed. You should be allowed, where it's a free country, you should be allowed to put poison in your body if you want to. It's delicious. Not gonna lie. Every once in a while, I love a good Coke, even though it's terrible for me, but it tastes so good. But food stamps should never be providing these. It's crazy. So RFK there, given the deal, and he's right. The tobacco companies, when in the 80s they started losing so much money because people stopped smoking as much. They bought a bunch of food companies and created more addictive foods that don't make us feel full. Another drop from RFK. I'll let him say it. This is a good one.
And it's outrageous that we don't have a surveillance system that functions. CDC did a study on its own vaccine, the only surveillance system it has VAERS, really. And the CDC did a study on it in 2010, and it captures fewer than 1% of vaccine injuries. So that's CDC's own study. And they had at that time a machine counting system that they were going to roll out to all the HMOs, and they put it on a shelf, and we are going to roll that out. Exactly the system that you're talking about. We're going to improve the surveillance. We're going to get the data sets from everybody we can. We're going to do data sharing agreements with scientists all over the world, with the best scientists, and we're going to find out what contribution vaccines and everything else, mold, EMF, food, all of these other exposures began in the late 1980s. Which one of those are the culprits? I suspect.
Wow. I'm going to make a prediction that in the next 3 years, our entire medical system, the way we knew it, a lot of the things most people understood and took for granted, is going to be completely upended. And one of the major areas that's going to happen is vaccines. And I'm not going to say much more on that because I'm on YouTube and they don't like me to talk about it. But it's just happening. I mean, CDC studied its own vaccine system, captured fewer than 1% of vaccine injuries. That's crazy. RFK is going to fix that. Wild stuff. Moody says, over the last year or so, I've come to understand and appreciate so much more the U.S. system of government. Thank you, Moody. We have a great system of government. The problem is we just don't always follow it. But when we follow it, it's amazing. It's amazing. Randy says, the whole agenda of the left is to have total control over people. Amen. Vinman says, Dems and liberals know they have to control the system and such because most people will not listen or believe their BS. They force people to fall in line. Exactly. They're dictators. Johnny Strayer says, the post from BAM was awesome. I totally agree with you, man. Didn't it make you get the feels, those good feels in your American red-bloodedness? I agree. Franzia is made from Soylent Green. Ew. Country, you know what Soylent Green's made from, right? I don't know, but hey, if you know some of the theories about the elites, it would make sense in that case if that Kamala really likes Franzia. Moody says the sugar industry created the narrative fat causes heart disease. Want to guess why? Oh yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. All right, check out this crazy one. Talking about again, we're just all over the place these last few things, but this is crazy. All right. This is a crazy little statistic on the Joe Rogan show about charities and why you need to always be careful where you send your money to help people.
Kids Wish Network. Look at this. They raised $127 million. They paid to solicitors $109 million. And they spent percentage on direct cash aid to the actual kids is 2.5%. 2.5%. Look at the Cancer Fund of America. Less than 1% went to the actual thing.
How sick is that? How sick? That should make you just sick to your stomach to know they are stealing so much money from kids, from sick kids. It should just make you ill to see this. And this is the truth about many nonprofits. There's many good ones too, don't get me wrong, but many nonprofits are just money making racketeering schemes. They're just disgusting. And I mean, Cancer Fund of America, less than 1% went to the actual people. They spend all that money on stuff. It's disgusting. So anyways, that stuff just, again, just showing the absolute corruption. Lochtefeld on Rumble asks, why does RFK Jr.'s wife hate Trump? RFK Jr.'s wife really struggled with Trump because she's a Hollywood liberal. I can't think of her name off the top of my head right now, but she starred in Curb Your Enthusiasm for years with Larry David as his wife, Cheryl Hines. That's her name. She Hollywood liberal, just like his whole family, Kennedys. She grew up in all that. She's around that. And but I don't think she hates Trump anymore. I don't. Their opinions are changing greatly after meeting and spending time with him. Bobby, he loves Trump now. And they're actually gotten really close. And I believe she's part of that too. But you got to understand, she lived in a bubble and her whole fame was contingent upon that bubble. And it's really hard to get out of that. So, but kudos to her. She didn't leave him. She stuck with him. And it's probably destroyed her career. So Brett says Franzia is made from the finest expired California grapes. That's hilarious. Brett reminds everybody, please like and subscribe. Thank you, guys. Please like, subscribe, and if you want to support the channel and get extra content, please think about joining. It's $3 a month. You got to give up that 7-Eleven coffee. I know, I'm sorry. It's just one day, though. and it's $3 a month to join and become a member. And then you get Members Lives, which Members Live tomorrow, people. Members Live tomorrow. And on top of that, access to the Discord. So good stuff going on in that Discord. Although today was a little slow, but I think there just wasn't much going on. Thank you for that. Susie B. Coleman did the same. You're right, Thomas. Absolutely. Vinman says, remember Bill O'Reilly talking about Red Cross and stuff after 9/11? Yeah, exactly. Johnny Sharon says she's a Heinz. Come on, Ace Ketchup. She's not one of those Heinz. She is Hines, not Heinz. Yeah, she's not a Heinz. That's John Kerry's wife. So I didn't see that, Randy. No. Whistleblower interview? No. WEF? No. Cheryl was so stupid she canceled Larry's AAA. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's a great show. It's a bunch of just liberals in Hollywood living their lives, but it's a great show. All right, let's go into the economy right now on these last few things before I end the show. This is actually huge news that came out today. And again, this is the kind of stuff nobody's talking about. It's driving me nuts. Thank you. Thank God the Kobisi letter is putting this out. But there's so much going on that's not being covered because they only want to cover the stuff that they're trying to get everybody mad at Trump, trying to turn the people against him. But there's stuff like this is huge. The U.S. budget deficit dropped $76 billion year over year in March to $161 billion, the lowest in 5 years. Doge is working. Doge is working. The government is getting cut. Budget deficit dropped to lowest in 5 years in March for a single month. That's a big deal, guys. A big deal. This comes as total government receipts increased 11% to $368 billion. Increased 11% still in the time of the Trump tax cuts. They haven't expired yet. They expire next year, although the Republicans are going to make sure that doesn't happen. Under his tax cuts, revenue's up 11%. Spending declined 7% to $528 billion. That is huge. 7% cut in spending is massive in our big old government. And this is just getting started. Significant improvement from $307 billion budget gap seen in February, second largest in history. This is still the Biden budget. January and February is still the Biden budget before Doge really got in there. So Doge had a month and a half. They got in on January 20th. They basically had a month. I don't think Doge started until like the last couple days of January. So they had 1 month and they've already getting down everything. This is wild. For the first 6 months of the fiscal year 2025, which goes back to 2024, total deficit stands at $1.3 trillion, second highest on record. That's all Biden. Only 2021 saw a higher 6-month deficit, and that's Biden. But that's not the headline. The headline is this, that already we're dropping spending as government receipts are increasing. I mean, that's huge, guys. That's huge. So really good stuff there. That is a big, big story. Here, 30-year mortgage rate is up to 7.5%, which is terrible. At the same time, we have a housing inventory supply around 500,000. I just saw this the other day. And that, my friends, is almost the record. It's as high as it's been since 2006. So you make super high interest rate, makes it very hard to buy. And then you have a ton of houses on the market. What's going to happen? That's the new houses. Sorry, 500,000. What happens when that happens? Housing prices are gearing up to see a plummet. So the housing market is very close to something breaking. And Michael Gayed, brilliant economist, says, wait, housing's going to have an economic crash. It's coming, folks. It's coming. We haven't gone through the pain yet. Okay, we haven't. And Trump's talking a good game right now. I understand why he's doing it. And they might be able to steer us through this relatively well in some miraculous fashion. But at the same time, there's a lot of correction that has to come. A lot of correction that has to come. We're going to see it in housing. We're going to see it in a lot of assets. We're definitely going to see it in the stock market. It has to happen. There's just no getting away from it. Today, NVIDIA, the U.S. government banned them from selling H20 chips to China for the indefinite future. This is a big deal. This is part of the trade war going on with China right now. And this is huge because NVIDIA is the most valuable company in the world. Remember, yesterday I announced they're building in America now, which is a huge announcement. But Trump also did this to them. They're losing now $5.5 billion charge to the Core One earnings. Stock down 5% immediately after the news. So they no longer, that's a huge chunk of their chips being bought. They are banned from selling them to China. That is huge, folks. That is a huge deal. And if NVIDIA starts to tank, or even if NVIDIA just suffers a 25% correction over the next few months as they're regathering themselves, it's going to have massive stock market implications. So we're getting closer and closer to the event that can break stuff. Here, and this goes back to earlier, somebody was asking me, why hasn't the SEC done anything? Or why isn't stuff happening yet? Well, the SEC is fighting back. They're trying to stop the reform. Why? Because they're going to get found out, folks. Shocker. This is from Kristen Shaughnessy, great reporter. Shocker, SEC doesn't want Doge to follow the money because the SEC doesn't want Doge to find out why trade settlement's not enforced. We're close. We're close. Quote, the data access requested by Eliezer Mishori, who is leading the Doge team at SEC, includes staff emails, personal data, contracts, and payment systems. The people said, speaking under condition of anonymity, SEC, currently led by acting chairman Mark Ueda, not a good dude, put there by Gensler, pushed back on the request. It's unclear whether Doge team's been granted access. This is a Yahoo story. So, guess what? Mark Ueda, who's pushing back, he ain't going to be there much longer. Some places were saying Paul Atkins got sworn in yesterday. I haven't seen that confirmed. But as soon as Paul Atkins is sworn in, bye-bye, Marky. And I have a feeling Paul Atkins, being Trump's guy, there's no way he doesn't let Doge get in there. So, guys, we are close. We're very close to good things happening here. Wait till this starts getting exposed. So I really think stuff's coming. I think it's coming. You're the History Channel has more views than what, Randy? What'd I miss? Roger says, Whoopi Goldberg backs the dismantling of the Department of Education. What? No, that's crazy. Brett says, as long as I don't have to hear Kamal again, I can handle the housing crash. How will it affect the price of bronze? It's going to get cheaper, yo. It's going to get cheaper. Lochtefeld on Rumble says, fire Mark Ueda. He already been fired. Paul Atkins has been confirmed. As soon as he's sworn in, Mark Ueda is gone. Randy says, China's going bankrupt very soon. They're demolishing the ghost cities. Really? They're demolishing them now? I didn't see that. Brett says, I'll call Nancy about the NVIDIA stock and see what she says. Hey, speaking of Nancy, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Kirsten Shazi, one more, says they could have stopped this a long time ago. Now they may need a bailout. Many market watchers pointed the finger at hedge funds when treasury bonds tumbled, suspecting an unwinding of certain big bets of theirs that contributed to the sell-off. Bankers and investors focused in particular on a trade centers on interest rate swap spreads and gained traction in the hedge fund community. Headline, Wall Street's smart money braced for tariff chaos. It was still caught off guard. The hedge funds are in trouble, guys. Hedge funds are in trouble. So this is all good stuff, guys. This is all good stuff. It's coming together. All right. Speaking of Nancy, Brett, this is just for you. This is just for you. Here's a little clip I had of Nancy geared up for tonight. Because Trump is now talking about going after the politicians for insider trading.
I wanted to ask you why you and your husband back in March of 2008 accepted and participated in a very large IPO deal from Visa at a time there was
look how shocked she looks.
Legislation affecting their credit card companies making its way through the House. And did you consider that to be a conflict of interest?
I don't know what your point is of
You
your
got
question.
called?
Is there some point that you want to make with that?
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, do you think it's all right for a speaker to accept a very preferential and favorable stock deal?
Well, we did.
And if you participated in the IPO,
Well, I have many
and at the time you were
investments, but
Speaker of the House, you don't think it was a conflict of interest or had the appearance
No,
of a
it was
conflict
not.
of interest?
It only has appearance if you decide that you're going to have elaborate on a false premise. But it's not true.
She's
And
stumbling.
that's that.
I don't understand what part's not true.
Yes, sir. That I would act upon an investment. Yes.
It's not true, guys. It's not true. I just stumbled into $230 million of wealth on a $200,000 a year salary. It just happens that way. I'm sorry. That's just how it happens. What do you want me to do? So what? I knew about the IPO months in advance and got up a bunch of shares and was able to sell them on day one. What do you want me to do? Insane. She looks much older. It also helps that it's older video. It blurs out some of the wrinkles. Tag me on a James Wood video. All right, let me see what I've been tagged on before we go tonight. Let's see here. Let's see. Lex, I see what you tagged me in, but that's old. That's from 2023. All right, let's play this. I'm a little scared, but let's see.
Donald Trump is a criminal who was found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud, liable for sexual abuse.
Oh my God.
Of course he's lying and abusing and manipulating the stock market too. When he talks about rapists and criminals, he should look in the mirror.
The mirror is just the whitest crowd you've ever seen. Where's all the diversity, AOC?
Don.
Why are you sharing that with me? Largest video and look at our audience members. Oh. All right, let's look one more time.
Donald Trump
they don't look real.
Criminal who was found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud, liable for sexual abuse. Of course he's lying and abusing and manipulating the stock market too.
That's funny. I don't know. I think it could be real.
When he talks.
Okay, I can't listen to it anymore. Moody, I don't think it's slander to say manipulate the stock market with the tariff thing. I think that I think it could be considered just I don't know, just an opinion of what he did. But last thing I wanted to share with you guys tonight. Actually, let me catch up with you guys first. It's all actionable, says Roger. So maybe I'm wrong. AOC's retarded cheerleader. Drew, I'll bring it up, but I think it's old, man. What you showed me about that. So this is the House says define the dollar as a fixed weight of gold and other purposes. So that tying it back to the gold standard, which is be awesome. But this is from March 2023. So I don't know if this is still on the board, but who knows? Maybe it will be. That'd be awesome. I would have to look into that more and see if it had any stuff there. Okay, let me see here. Brett says Nancy replied, prospectus entailed the modification of Visa stockade, IPO regimen funded. I can't even read what you wrote. It definitely sounds like word salad, like a Kamala thing. Okay. Did you guys see today this stupid spaceship that went up with Katy Perry and everything? Well, there's many people saying they don't believe it's real, and this is the best evidence I've seen yet. And I'm telling you, after seeing this, I don't think they went to space either. It's not supposed to open from the inside. No airlock. Exactly. So stupid. Anyways, I thought that was hilarious. It has nothing to do with anything else we're talking about tonight, but I just wanted to say, yeah, no burn marks from re-entering the atmosphere, anything like that. It's so crazy. So, Moody, that's a great question. Do I think AOC would get more votes than Kamala? No. So Kamala had a couple starting giant. I know. I hope I don't get dinged copyright for that song. Anyways, if AOC runs, she would fail hard. So she's famous and she's got name recognition. She's way more famous than Kamala ever was. Way more famous. Kamala was only famous to those of us who knew, who follow politics. To everybody else, she was just the vice president, but she was never really out there, and most people didn't care. They didn't like her necessarily, but most people didn't form a real opinion about her, at least people in the middle. Everybody has an opinion about AOC. Everybody thinks either AOC is amazing, which is like 15 to 20% of the country, and then the other 20% think she's annoying, 25%, and then 55-60% of the nation hate her, think she's stupid or just crazy. And she's not going to overcome that. She's just not. This is the thing that made AOC famous and successful is her social media presence and her ability to just get out in front of people. But it's also the thing that's going to hurt her and make it so she can never run for president. She would never run for president. There's talk of Bernie running again. He's way too old. He's not going to run. And AOC being a VP, it's just talk. The liberals are so freaking desperate right now. They just want any energy. AOC, her destiny is she's either going to take Chuck Schumer's seat in the Senate in New York and become a senator. So she'll be in our life for a long time, which sucks. And then ultimately, I think the highest AOC could ever get is in 30 years. If the Democrats control the House, at that point, AOC could become speaker or something like that. But AOC will never be voted as president. I just tell you right there. I know it's hard to believe, but she would get less votes than Kamala, because Kamala was at least unknown enough that they could fire up the base with her. So, all right, what am I missing here? All right, let me catch up with you guys, and then we're going to call tonight. MK Alton Thaler says fake sending people to space. Right? Those are amazing wetsuits. That's so for sure. Drew says, check that out one more time. Now that was a fake anti-Trump rally. I watched it twice. You got another tag for me? Let me look. All right, let's watch this guy's video, and then we got called tonight.
On the left, I want to take your hands off was so fucking successful, and I've seen this all over the news. I want to point out a couple things here, because this is a fake video that came out of News First out of Australia. First off, I want to point out to you guys up here.
Very well.
Just a moment. I want you guys to take a moment and take a look at the flags. How many times have you noticed that flags fly opposite directions? Imagine that one. Flags flying opposite fucking directions. Where have we seen this kind of stuff before? Do you guys remember Kamala Harris in front of the plane? At the Air Force One. You know, just so happens flags are flying different directions. The wind's just different. What they've done is they actually cut this. Now I want you guys to look at the vehicles. Look at this. It's the identical vehicles. What they've done is
Yes,
they've looped
that's
the
true.
clip. And
Yeah.
I'm not even good at this shit, guys. This is just obvious right here. All righty. What they've done is they filtered
That's
and
the
cut
exact
and
same,
filled.
yeah.
This is actually really a fucking joke. So your fucking, your whole hands-off thing, there ain't nothing like this out there, guys. So everybody, you know what? I just want to again show this. Watch. Notice the cars. Notice the cars. Notice this. Same fucking cars. Oh, yeah. What a concept. Where the hell are they going? Just zoom in. This is complete fucking bullshit. So you.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Sorry. Yeah.
A couple things here because this is a fake video that came out of News First out of Australia. First off, I want to point out to you guys up here, just a moment. I want you guys to take a moment and take a look at the flags. How many times have you noticed that flags fly opposite directions? Imagine that one. Flags flying opposite fucking directions. Where have we seen this kind of stuff before? Do you guys remember Kamala Harris in front of the plane at the Air Force One? You know, just so happens flags are flying different directions. The wind's just different. What they've done is they actually cut this. Now I want you guys to look at the vehicles. Look at this. It's the identical vehicles. What they've done is they've looped the clip. And I'm not even good at this shit, guys. This is just obvious right here. All righty. What they've done is they filtered and cut and filled. This is actually really a fucking joke.
Crazy.
So you're
it's
fucking
so obvious
your
up
whole
there on the cars.
hands-off thing, there ain't nothing like this out there, guys.
Yeah, right, Roger.
So everybody, you know what? I just want to again show this. Watch. Notice the cars. Notice the cars. Notice this. Same fucking cars.
That's crazy.
Yeah. What a concept. Where the hell are they going? Just zoom in. This is complete fucking bullshit. So you know what? Your hands-off tour was nothing what you guys want to say it was. All your bullshit protests. And all you guys out there outside the United States, we're all supporting Trump. The majority are supporting Trump. So fuck off. We've got this. And on TikTok, this is strictly my opinion. Having some fun with making a few videos on this one. But again, I'm pointing out the obvious on this.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't see that the same in the AOC crowd, but I'll have to look at it more later. Sorry about that mistake, guys. I'm tired. I pulled it up and I didn't notice I hadn't thrown it on the screen. Anyways. All right. You guys have a great night. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. I really appreciate it. Like if you hate Harvard. There you go. And anyways, let's do what we always do and end in a prayer because God knows we need as much prayer as possible in this time. So Heavenly Father, thank you for a beautiful day. God bless this amazing community here, Lord. And I thank you for them. And just thank you for the ability to do these videos and learn from this community as I do. Father, we pray for justice in this nation and justice in the markets, justice to all the people who have been just ruining our nation from within for so long. I pray that it comes to them swiftly and thoroughly so that they cannot escape. I do thank you for what's been carried out so far. And I just pray for the people in charge, Lord, with Trump and his team, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, and all the others, Lord. I pray that you give them wisdom, protect them, and give them boldness to see things through when they're hard. And Father, I pray for our community, pray for Thomas, Lord, for his cancer, Lord. And I thank you for Randy's praise report. That's just amazing. And I'm so happy for his father getting a clean bill of health. And God, I just pray more of that, especially for Thomas, anybody else who needs it. And Lord, we pray for Canada with this upcoming election. I pray that the veil would be lifted from the eyes of the people and they would see what's really going on here. And God, Canada needs a miracle just like you gave the U.S. one. And Lord, if the people are ready, I pray they get their miracle and Mark Carney would be defeated and Canada would get a second chance as well. As much as I like to make fun of it, they're still our brothers to the north and good people, and they deserve better. So I pray that they get it. And everything else, Lord, I just pray blessings over all of us as we navigate these crazy times. I pray you speak to us and guide us to wherever we can be used to better our nation and our families and our communities. And I just thank you for all you do. Bless everybody here in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Love you guys. Have a great night. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see members tomorrow night. Take care, guys. Good night.